Git and GitHub is one of the most used, and it's actually a tool where almost all software engineers, developers, or any other body working on maybe something must. It's a must thing that you actually have to understand. Because imagine in a scenario whereby you're working maybe on a certain, you're writing some program. So, okay, let's say your laptop has power issues, so and then your power goes off, then you lose that your code. But thanks to Git and GitHub, so what this actually does is it helps us store our code. Then we can also get to collaborate with other developers. So for example, I'm in Kenya, and then another developer is in Nigeria, and then another one is maybe in India. So we can work on the same code, we can work on the same application using Git and GitHub. So this is a platform whereby you can actually get to contribute to somebody's code or a program, and again you can get to collaborate to build a mobile application. So let's get started first by creating our own user account. I want you to go to GitHub, so just type in github.com. So just type in github.com, then press enter. So once you type on your browser, you type in Git and GitHub, so you're going to be welcomed by this first screen. So from this point you can just note something here, so where it says where's the world build software. So with this means there are millions of developers and companies build. So by building, that means that you're writing your code. Ship, so that's meaning you are now done with writing your code and you want to now like maybe push it to production. That's what we call shipping. Then you can maintain on the GitHub, which is the largest and advanced platform for developers. So to sign up, you'll require your email. Then you will require to sign up. But first, let's get to go through what just an overview of what this is. So you will come across a keyword called repositories. So a repository is just let's call it a project. So the way you would create a project on maybe like your VS Code. So we have this VS Code here. So for mine, I've just called it tester.java. So the way you're going to create that, so that is actually the unique name that identifies your project on GitHub. So you'll get to know about what that. So of course, you know what a developer is, that you are of course a developer. So then you're going to build with the best with some of the enterprises here. So again, you have to have your code, so you can collaborate, you can develop. Again, one amazing thing is you can automate. And with automation, so of course you're going to come up with something called a CI/CD. So we'll get to understand what all things are. So back to where we were, just sorry for rushing here. So we were at this point. Then you can maybe so we have something here, cloud. So of course it's not the normal cloud whereby we receive rain, but this is a remote, maybe let's call it a remote store where you now store your code. So that's what actually Git is, the GitHub actually does. It helps you store your code remotely. That means I, as a developer, I can maybe fork your code. So we get to know what forking is. So it's just like obtaining your project. So maybe I'm again in Kenya and my fellow developer is in Nigeria. So I can obtain the whole project of that developer in Nigeria and then work for the application in my computer. Then I can now push it. So we'll get to know what this push, fork, and commit everything means. Now, so once we are done with that, so this is just an overview of how you can maybe get to build. So we'll get to know something about, we'll get to understand what all this means. So it might seem not familiar, but we'll get to understand all this thing. So one thing again, you can describe what your project does. So we have something called a README. So what README does is it tells a developer what exactly you are doing, or you actually tell the world what you as a developer is building. So you can see now that this person is describing this entire project. So from this place, you can guess that we have some web app here. So we can, because of the .js, then .md. So you get to understand all those installations. So then it's ready platform and ready to scale. Then this is just another overview. So you can see, so this is just a demo of what's really happening. So we will get to also understand. So this is this window here again is what we call the GitHub desktop. So we'll get to again install some few projects, not some few projects, but some few software you will need. So you can again, however, so this is just part of using the GitHub desktop. So what GitHub desktop means, instead of using if you hate using the command line and I don't know why you should do so, you are going to use the GitHub desktop. Then this is just much more of the descriptions and the entire thing. So you can again practice automation. We'll get to know what CI/CD means. So what again DevOps is. So DevOps is just develop operations whereby you get to deploy. So another again new term. So deploying is making your app live, so that when somebody does something like maybe like github.com, it can be accessible via other different platforms, like maybe using Chrome. It's just a way of making your project to go online. So like the way you are online on WhatsApp, then so that's what actually deploying means. Wow. So I think wow, another one more term here. So merging. So assuming that I'm working on the same project with a developer in Nigeria. So once I've made changes to my application, so and then also is done on the other side, is done making changes from Nigerian part. So that means we can now do merging. So that merging is bringing together. So it's like combining. So you can combine to make sure that you are shipping. So you are shipping a whole code. Then the rest again, so we'll get to understand what all this means. So again, you can make your contribution. So there's something called open source. So we'll get to know what open source means. So these are just these are projects who you don't maybe like own, right? So anybody can modify your code. So I want you to go to type in your email here. So I'm just going to maybe choose the sign up here. Oops, I don't have internet. So just add to sign up. So once you click on sign up, then it will take you to this place here. So the first thing it would require is for you to join this, so it require your account. So maybe like I'll just just create one here. So Bakshi. So okay, Bakshi. So let me just say Bakshi Owen. So it's going to check. So if you get an error, that means the username is already taken. So I'll just enter my email. So at Gmail. So it says my email is already taken. So let me just use the other email. So hopefully, okay, this one is taken again. 1130. Wow. So make sure you've placed here. So in case you get an invalid username, so just make sure you change it to make sure that it matches your name. So just going to create a simple password here. Wow. So I hope I remember this. Okay, let me just recreate it again. Okay. So make sure you have a strong password, because you would actually be dealing with the different projects. So at sometimes you will be working for a certain company, and then you are building a banking application. So you want to make sure that each and every time your password is always secure. So for me, I want to change this one, so I don't want them. So I'm just going to verify. So pick a Spiral. So this is Spiral. I hope. Galaxy. Goodness. Galaxy is which one? Oh, I got it wrong. So pick Spiral Galaxy, this one. Yeah. Then okay, these things are confusing. So Spiral Galaxy. Hopefully, yes, I got it. So the next thing you want to do is click on create account. So this will now create your account. So it's going to like tell you welcome to GitHub. So you've joined the Git. So and then it's going to ask you some very few questions. Who are you? So what do you write code for? So I'm a software engineer, I'm a student. Then if you over this place, so if you click on this, then you're going to see your username here. So Bakshi, then you can check on so for you to update your profile. So these are just a basic thing. So then we have this notification. So this is where you will be able to get notification when somebody maybe like works on certain projects. And then this is the place I want you to interact with. So if you click on this drop down, so you're going to see now new repository, import, new gist, new organization, then new project. So we'll get to know about all this. So we have something here, pull request. So what pull request does is if you find maybe like you're contributing to a certain code. So let's say you want to contribute to Uber. So you've seen an error in Uber app. So you can go ahead and fork, then make a pull request. This pull request means you want to make some changes to the code. So I'm just going to finish up with my profile. So I'm just going to say I'm a software engineer. Then how much programming do you expect? Let's say I don't have at all. Then what do you plan to use Git for? So let me just say I want to learn code, and then also maybe like collaborate with my team. So you can choose as multiple as you want. So I'm interested in, so maybe like languages. So let me just say Java. So Java, cool. And then I'm done. So I can now go to complete setup. So when it's completing, then it's telling me to verify my email. So I'm just going to go into my email. Okay, cool. So then I'm just going to GitHub. So then I'm just going to verify my email. So once I verify my email, so then it's now states that my email was verified. So I'm now up and running and ready to use Git. So you can see from this point, so I can create a new organization. So for now, we're just going to focus on creating a new project. So let's say we have this application here, our code here. So this is just a simple Java application. So if I run it, you see that we have, if you run this, it's simple hello world. So it shows you hello world. So let's say I want to push this my code to GitHub. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to create a repository. So click on create repository, then give it a name. So I'm going to say hello world Java. So this is what identifies my repository name. Then the next thing, I'm going to give a description of this. So I'm just going to say this is my first GitHub project. So once I have that, then I have two choices to make it public or private. So if I choose private, that means I will be the only person who is able to see my project. But if I make it public, that means anyone can access it from the internet. So I'm going to leave it as public. Then there is something very interesting here. So this is called add readme. So readme, it will give the user what exactly I'm using. Then we have .ignore and choose a license. So we'll come to understand what all this. So for now, I want you to just go to create the repository. So once you've done that, then it's going to create this repository here. So don't worry so much about these commands. So this is what we're going to cover in our next maybe course. So just know that this exists. So I want you to go, just navigate back from this, then click on your profile here. So if you now click on your profile, then it's going to give you something here. So if you see, so just close this. So you just complete your profile later. So if you now look at this point, you see that we have one repository. So if you navigate now to the repository, you see now that we have hello world Java. Then the description is, this is my first GitHub project. Then you have your profile. So you can keep now editing your profile, uploading and the rest. So those are basics. Then one thing, if you are not the light world, then we have the dark mode for actually the GitHub. But for our course, I'm just going to switch to using the light one. So then we have the overview. So if you look at the overview, then it's going to show you your contribution. So you are going to actually see some greens here. This means that you made some changes to your project and you made 2 contributions. Then it says, yeah, okay, cool. So you've received a badge for first launching your first repository. Now, let's say I wanted to store my code here. So this code, then I'll into this project. And then I'm going to just hover between repositories and this one. So from the overview, then I can choose to directly click on this, where it's going to take me to my repositories. So if I click on that, then it's going to take me to where I made my project. So I can now click on this. Or while still under my profile, I'm going to directly click on it. then I'm going directly to this file. So I'm going to say create a new file. Then I'm going to say hello world dot Java. So make sure you have the dot extension, otherwise you won't be able to have a nice preview. So once I have that, then I can now go back to my VS Code, then select all, copy. That's a command C or on Windows, then paste here. So if I now paste this, then you can now see that my code is already in this place. Now I'm going to give a description here. So let's say just update it. My first code. So this means that you are describing the changes you made. Then if you now commit, this means that now you are done finishing the changes. You now see that you have some projects here. So if you now click on this hello world, then it's now taking you to where your code is. Wow, that was really amazing one. So back to the hello world project. Then you can now add a readme. So from that point now you can just say add a readme. So this is the description. So if you add this, then it's going to directly say print what you add the previous description. So I'm not just going to change anything, or let me just say, and then let me just say and updated. Also let me just say like first Java program. Then I'm going to again commit the changes. So maybe like updated the code. So let's say I updated or I didn't update, and then I have to now commit the changes. So if I click on that, you now see that we have the description here, hello world Java. So this is my first GitHub project. Then we all have that. So that was really something very amazing. So from this file now, you can now keep adding other files. So let's say I now decide to create another program. So maybe like another Java file. Then I can just copy the same thing, then come here to file, then create a new file. So let's say maybe I created a certain function. Then I'm going to create from this point. Now, to directly, we are going to now get to learn more about the GitHub desktop. So that was how you interact more with the Git. So you can now go to your profile. You can now see that you made some contributions here. So you have now 4 contributions. So this is where now it shows you the number. So the number of, the more the greens, then the more contributions you've made in your project. So that was all. So let's check for let's look at certain, maybe like a profile of mine for GitHub. So because I've already completed this, then it's showing me. So this is my profile, just because it's only that you have not updated yours. So for me, again, I still have the same thing. I can create a new repository. So because from this part we just have one project, so you see that now that there are still less, but we're going to create more. So it again gives me an overview of what we are doing. So this is a Java application. So let's say we are now checking for Team Zawen. So this means that he has a lot of repositories. So you can now see. Then we can now check maybe like the contributions. So this means that these are the number of contributions. So if you keep contributing, so if you now over between a square that's not green, so that means that there was no contribution in December 5, 2020. But if you now move to other ones, then it says we had 7 contributions. So the other one we had maybe like 17 contributions. So the more the green, that means the more the number of commits. Then from this point, we have some over. If you are contributing to open source, then you are going to be added to maybe like some organizations. So you'll get to understand the entire thing. So if you switch now to repositories, then it's going to tell you actually the number of repositories you are doing. So maybe like this one. So let's say we are using this one. So if you now click on this conference, so we'll get to know that this is a Java. This one has no readme. So let's just go back to and then check for one that has a readme. So let's say Python for TensorFlow. So this is a Python repository. So this one has a readme. So you can now see that it describes what I'm really doing. So let's learn some Python with now TensorFlow. So that was all you had to do understand about Git. So from the next video or class, then we will be now updating. So we'll get to dig more a little bit into collaboration and contributing as a GitHub, maybe like as a software engineer. So mostly what Git does is it helps you work remotely and collaborate with projects. So congratulations for taking your first step in actually creating your first Hello World repository. So the next thing, we get to dive more on Git installation of the GitHub. So there's one more thing. We're going to install Git Bash, then the GitHub desktop, and get to know more how we can actually do a simple things using the command line instead of actually doing it manually. So that was all. I hope you enjoyed about